Hello, everyone, and haven't seen you for a while. And so today I will start uh, another topic. Today's topic is uh, the trend of sophistry today in philosophy. All right, this is my topic, and this is related to the question: the philosophy is dead, and why? I briefly talk about the logical structure in philosophy itself in the past, and traced its history from Parmenides to Heidegger, and the being from him, from Parmenides to the being of Heidegger. So there's a complete circle. So that's a sort of academia part of the things. And today I'm going to talk about from another point of view, from the actor, the doer of philosophy people, from this point of view. All right, that's my point. Okay, so to me, from my recent experience and trying to uh, find money to translate my book into English and try to get a position to seek support to let people know my theory, my system. That's my purpose. But I met a lot of problems, and basically, as a matter of fact, I didn't see anybody as in the past realize what or understands what I'm talking about. So that's a problem. All right, I see. I see there's a trend of sophistry, and that's a very serious accusation of today's status of philosophy. So people naturally ask, why do you say that? All right, okay. Let me give you the reason for that. All right. First, let's say we know, everybody knows, and the astrophysicist Stephen Hawking already said the philosophy is dead, and accused the philosophy is not taking over the torch of going forward, giving directions and guidance to other fields of science. But nowadays, the physicists do, like people like him. That's his point. All right. Why I'm saying we need, in other words, we need to find out the reason why philosophy is dead. Why? And I see from another point of view, that is, people care more about money, power, or the market, and less about the truth. What is the truth? And people don't care about that anymore. So that is the trend. This trend, I call it the trend of sophistry. Okay, in the history of philosophy, and people know there's a group of people in ancient Greek. Uh, they called sophists, and they differed from Plato, Aristotle, Plato, in the way they are treating philosophy. Basically, they are treating it. They are teaching philosophy for money, and they are not like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, seeking the truth. What is the truth? So that's a basic difference. And so I see nowadays, and people, mostly the philosophy teachers in all universities, I can say all over the world, and has that trend of sophistry. They basically teach philosophy for money, for power, for position. That is the truth. And because in recent my experience, I found that is true. And first, I want to say, because how can get people be serious about that is Instancology, and the way is I adapt this way to apply for a position, because at this time the philosophy market, every universities and institutes started to recruiting new philosophy teachers. So I'm thinking, if I take this route, and philosophy teachers in each institute will take a good look at my system, so that they can find, they'll see the value in it, and or give some serious criticism. And for me, I want to see if there's a people, there are some people who really understand it. And but so far I haven't seen any. And but what's interesting is they, when they turn me down, they all say something like this, and the position you wanted and is filled by some other people, and we do appreciate your talents, or you can try it somewhere else. I know that's just sort of formality, but the thing is, nowadays, from this talk, from this point of in their letter, we can see they think everybody come here is like sophists. They only care about the money, power, position. That's their intention. That's their thinking behind their letter. And they are telling you, you come here for money? Okay. And sorry, we don't have it for you. And that's the basic idea. They don't know anything else from this one. I understand. The second point is, from their answer and treated me with a letter like this, I'll say that they think any applicant, if you gave them the philosophy or what I understand as applicants, how you understand the philosophy, to get that position they advertised, they think you must naturally not as good as they are in academia, in the sense of philosophy itself. They know more than you do, and they assume that. They think they are better off than you are. Well, maybe you are right, because people are competing for a position. Normally it's a lower level position. Maybe they are not as good as you are in philosophy, and you are the senior members of the department, you are senior members of the field, and people come here, applicants come here for a lower level position. But it doesn't mean they must not know what they are doing or talking. Their understanding of philosophy is worse than you are, and that's certainly not true. Maybe it's true for the majority, but I think not for everybody. And I think in my case, it's definitely not. And I'm sure I know better than those people. Whoever answered, returned my letter, I'm sure I know what I'm doing, and he doesn't know. I'm pretty sure about that. But my point here is not to argue who is right, who is wrong, but to argue that you, as the guy who has the power and the money, just cannot assume you know better philosophy than other people. That's not right. Okay, that's not the absolute correct thing to assume. All right. Okay. The third thing is, and in their letter they always say this, something like this: we understand what you applied for. We carefully examined what you provided us, and we have reached the conclusion that you are blah 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 something else, not as means we select other people who are better than you are in philosophy. That's a basic point. But here I want to say you are totally wrong in my case, because first, number one, my books are written in Chinese. How many of you understand Chinese? And that's one point. Another point is, how many of you understand Chinese philosophy or Oriental philosophy in terms of the whole situation? I think basically almost a zero. And that's my assumption, because to my knowledge, only one person in the history of philosophy, his name is Schopenhauer. He understand and quoted part of a philosophy, Oriental philosophy, from Indian philosophy, Hindu philosophy. Okay, nobody else did. Nobody else understand it. That's another thing. All right. And the second, I only wrote briefly and in a hurry some less than 10% of my meaning in English to express it. From that little thing, how can you say you understand it? How can you say you carefully examine what every applicant's materials or philosophies or systems? You just cannot say that. And we know that you don't understand it. That's a fact. And you made assumption based on your ignorance. That's a fact. So, but what I'm saying is that they don't care about the truth. They care all about is money and the power. They pretend to know it. Actually, they don't. If anybody who wants to challenge my assumption of this and tell me, I'll answer you. All right? I'll ask you if you under anything I said in my system. I bet that you cannot challenge me. All right? A while ago, I have the assumption that in the English-speaking world, either in the United States or in Canada, in Australia, in Britain, or in Europe, whoever uses English, and somebody will understand my point. Somebody will see the sense in my system. But so far, I have the disappointment of everybody else. Everybody is like in the past. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. But they all, every one of them, pretends to know what I'm talking about. They know, they think they know, they pretend to know, because they made a judgment on that. They already made a decision based on what you provided us. We reached a conclusion. That's what they told me. You reach what? You know anything about it? No, absolutely no, not. They are the people like Socrates chased before. All right, they don't know what they are doing. That's a fact. All right, and I said in the Chinese community in the past, I have people like that too, and because I had been there for many years, and I found nobody understand my system, but they all pretend to know it. Because Chinese culture is different from the Western culture, and I see Chinese culture as a sort of intuitive culture. And the English-speaking countries, in here, the culture is different. It's rational. It's out of reason. I think probably people now are, the philosophy people are embodiment of this rationale or reason. But now I see, no, there's no difference. People are people, everywhere the same. Here, people in the English-speaking countries all over the world, United States, Britain, Australia, Canada, in Europe, everybody here, whoever responded to me, always assume they already know my system. That's a totally absurd assumption to me, all right? Because I know they don't know it. That's a matter of fact. So I feel that as to conclude this part, and I feel nowadays people in the institutions, they have power, they have money, but they have no truth. That's no wonder that philosophy is dead, all right? And from this point of view, we can see why, because they don't care about the truth anymore. I even pleaded to them that let me talk a few hours. I'll tell you what my system is. I don't care about that position, right? As some close people around me said, if you want to go to be a professor, why didn't you do it earlier? Why don't you to take a PhD or something? I said, no, that's not my purpose. Okay, if I really wanted to be professor, to be in university, I wouldn't have done IT for so many years. Okay, that's a point. The point is, philosophy is seeking the truth. It has nothing to do with money. If you want to make a living, you do something else, and that's my point. So the conclusion is, there's a sophistry, the trend of sophistry in today's world. That's the exact reason, all right, why philosophy is dead. Nobody, absolutely nobody cares about the truth, all right? So, that's our world. The world go to dogs. That's a conclusion. All right? Thank you.